Hello, hello everyone, and welcome to today's class. That is lesson number 4 of module number 1 of basic surveying, which is a part of your third sem syllabus. Before we go ahead with today's topics, which involves chain surveying, that is the types of chains or tapes that are used for measurement in the field, and how the measurement is done using those tapes and chains on the field. How the taping or chaining is done on a level ground and on a sloping ground. Now, before we go ahead with this, we'll just revise what was taught in the previous lesson or in the previous class. Now, in the previous class, we learned what are maps and how the maps are classified based on various aspects such as scale of the map and purpose of the map. Uh, Based on scale of the map was classified as large scale and small scale maps. This is also a difference between map and a plan. Map On a map, a large area is represented on a piece of paper. In a plan, a small area is represented on a piece of paper. That is the difference between a map and a plan. We also learned what are different types. What are topographic maps, and what are the conventional symbols that are used in the topographic maps. Finally, we learned what is the numbering system used in the maps by Survey of India. The numbering system is the latitudes, or the line is drawn at 4-degree latitude and longitudes, and blocks are constructed and they are numbered. Each block is again split into 16 blocks, uh, and naming is given from A to P. And again, each single block is split into 16 blocks. Like if you take block number B, it is again split into 16 blocks, numbering from 1 to 16. And if you consider any one block, it is again split into 4 blocks. It is northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast. So this is how the maps are numbered by Survey of India. So let us continue with today's topic, which is chain surveying or tape surveying. Now, the topics that we will be dealing with today are what are the different tapes and chains, what are the different types of tapes and chains that are used, measurement using these tapes and chains, and how the taping and chaining are done on a level ground, that is a flat ground, and on sloping ground. So first let us look at the various methods of making linear measurements. So linear measurements be done by direct measurements, measurements by optical means, and electromagnetic methods. Now, some of the direct measurements involve pacing. Pacing means using our own feet, our own steps. Like if you walk from one end of the room to the other end of the room, you might cover it in 5 steps. So the length is 5 steps. So this was how the measurement was done when there were no instruments to measure the distance. This is how uh, the blind people measure the distance. If they want to travel from one room to other room, they usually measure the distance in terms of number of steps they take to reach from one point to other point. Hmm. The next way to measure is measurement with a passometer, which is an instrument shaped like a watch that is used to count the number of persons' steps. It is similar to pacing, but instead of us doing the counting, the instrument does the counting of number of steps. The next is with pedometer. It is a portable device. It is an electronic or electromechanical device that counts each step a person takes by detecting motion of the person's hips or hands. Next is measurement by odometer or speedometer. It is an instrument that indicates distance traveled by a vehicle, such as bicycle or automobile. This device may be electronic, mechanical, or combination of both. Usually, the speedometer is fitted in a vehicle and it measures the distance traveled by the vehicle. The last is chaining. Now, chaining is a term used to denote measuring distance with the help of a chain or tape, and is the most accurate method of making direct measurements. When you go to tailor, the measurements are taken by a tape by the tailor. So that is one example of direct measurement by a tape or a chain. Now, the instruments or the various types of chains or tapes that are used are, or the various types of instruments that are used in chaining or taping are. First one is chain or tape. Second is arrows. Third are pegs. Fourth, ranging rods. Fifth is plumb bob. Sixth, plasters, lathe and mites. Seventh is offset rods. Now let us go through different types of chains. Now, what is a chain? Chains are formed of straight links of galvanized mild steel wire bent into rings at ends and joined to each other by three small circular or oval wire rings. The ends are provided with brass handles. The length of each link is the distance between center of two consecutive rings. So this is the ring and this is the oval rings at the end, which is bent, and the length of one link is center of the ring to center of the other ring. So this is one link. So in one chain there are several links tied together. So different types of chains that are used are, the first one is metric chain. As the name says, the lengths are in meters. The metric chain are available in the lengths of 5 meter, 10 meter, 20 meter, and 30 meter. Uh, the length of link of all the chains, the length of one link is 20 centimeter. Now, let's take one example. Let's take a 10-meter chain. I'll take a 10-meter chain. Uh, this 10-meter chain is made of several links. Now, each link is of 20 centimeter. So, it is a 10-meter chain and each link is 20 centimeter. So, how many links are present? 20 centimeter, which is 0.2 meter. So, 10 divided by 0.2, 50 links are present. Each link is 20 centimeter and there are 50 links. So, 20 centimeter each and there are 50 links. So, 20 into 50 is 1000 centimeter. 1000 centimeter is nothing but 10 meters. So each chain is made up of several 20 centimeter links. In 20-meter chain, there are 100 links of 20 centimeter. In 30-meter chain, there are 150 links of 20 centimeter. Now, in this chain, to measure the length easily, small brass rings are provided at every 1 meter interval. Now, these are small brass rings which are provided at 1 meter interval, and these are brass tacks which are provided at 5 meter interval. So wherever this ring is, it indicates 1 meter mark. Wherever this brass tag is, it indicates a multiple of 5 meter mark. So in a metric chain, please remember, small brass rings are provided at every 1 meter, and brass tallies or tags are provided at every 5 meter. And also the length of the chain is engraved on both the handles. So this is the brass handle and length of the chain is engraved on the handle. The handle is provided at both ends. The next type of chain is Gunter's chain or surveyor's chain. Now, unlike metric chain, which is available in the lengths of 5 meter, 10 meter, 20 meter, and 30 meter, Gunter's chain is only available in 66 feet. The length of Gunter's chain is fixed. It is 66 feet and it has 100 links. Now, each link is 0.6 feet. Why the chain length is 66 feet? Because using this chain, let's say if you are measuring a rectangular plot and length of that plot is 10 chains and width of that plot is 1 chain, then area is 10 into 1, 10 square chains. Then if you are measuring a land using Gunter's chain, and if the area of that land is 10 square chains, then that area is equal to 1 acre. So 10 square chains is equal to 1 acre. Using this type of measurement, the chain was made 66 feet long. So that is why the length of the chain is 66 feet, because 10 square chains is equal to 1 acre. The next type of chain is engineer's chain. Uh, in engineer's chain, the length of the chain is 100 feet, and it also has 100 links. Each link is of 1 feet, and at every 10 links, that is at every 10 feet, brass tacks are provided. The last type of chain is revenue chain. Now, the revenue chain is 33 feet, and it consists of 16 links. Now, each link being 2 and 1/16 of a feet. This chain is mainly used in cadastral survey. Now, as I told you, cadastral survey involves it is to be putting property lines between two neighboring properties and fields. Now, these are the different types of chains. Now, chains are important because almost all the maps that are available in the Panchayati office, Taluk Panchayati, Zilla Panchayati, in the government offices, they are the measurement is done in terms of chains. They're old maps, and the scale and the measurements are done in chains. So if you have the knowledge of chains, you will know the measurement that is done in these maps. Next, we'll move on to different types of tapes. We have the first one is cloth tape or linen tape. Now, cloth tapes are made up of linen, and the width is 12 to 15 wide, that is 1.2 centimeter to 1.5 centimeter, and it is varnished to resist moisture. It is very light and it is flexible and may be used for taking very rough measurements. The cloth tape is commonly available in length of 10, 20, 25 and 30 meters, and it is available in 30 in lengths of 33 feet, 50 feet, 66 feet and 100 feet. The end of the tape is provided with small brass ring whose length is included in the total length of the tape. Now, cloth tape is only used for rough measurements. It is not used for making accurate measurements because it can be easily affected by moisture or dampness, and the cloth will shrink. Its length is altered by stretching, as the cloth tape is flexible. If you stretch it too much, its length will be altered, and it is likely to get twisted and tangled, and it may get torn apart because it is not strong. The next type of tape is the next type of tape. The next type of tape is metallic tape. It is made of varnished strip of varnished strip of waterproof linen interwoven with brass, copper, or bronze wire, and it does not stretch easily as a cloth tape. But because it is interwoven with waterproof linen, this type of metallic tape is light, and it is flexible, and it is not easily broken.
They are particularly useful in cross-sectioning and some methods of topography where small errors in length of the tape are of no consequences. Now, the metallic tapes are made in length of 2 meter, 5 meter, 10 meter, 20 meter, 30 meter, and 50 meters. In case of tapes of 10, 20, 30, and 50 meter length of 50 meter length, a metal ring is attached to the outer ends and it is fastened by a metal strip of same width as of the tape. The next type of tape is steel tapes. Now, the quality of steel tape is superior to that of cloth tape or metallic tape. Now, the steel tape consists of light strip of width 6 mm to 10 mm and it is more accurately graduated. They are available in the lengths of 1 meter, 2 meter, 10 meter, 20 meter, 30 meter, and 50 meter. Uh, Steel tape is a delicate instrument and it is very light and it cannot withstand very rough usage. It must be wiped clean and dry before the usage and must be oiled regularly so that it does not get rusted. Now the next type of tape is in bar tape and it is used for very high it is used when very high degree of precision is required, such as measurement of baselines. The invar tape is made of alloy of nickel and steel and it has very low coefficient of thermal expansion. That is, it does not expand and contract depending on temperatures that much. So it is about the expansion and contraction is about 1/10 of that of steel and less than that. So the other great advantage of Invar is the bands and wires made of Invar enable baselines to be measured very rapidly and conveniently. Invar tapes and bands are more expansive, much softer, and more easily deformed than steel tapes. But one great disadvantage of Invar tape is that it is subject to creep, due to which it undergoes small increase in length as the time goes on. Invar tapes are 6 mm wide and are available in the length of 20 meter, 30 meter, and 100 meters. The other instruments that are involved in chaining are arrows. I'll show all these instruments in the lab. So this is an arrow. It is inserted into a ground to mark a point, and this is a peg, and these are ranging rods. All these instruments will be demonstrated in the class as soon as you return back to classrooms. So we'll move on to the next part, which is taining or taping or chaining over sloping ground. Now, the first method, please remember, this is a very important thing. When you are measuring distance, if the ground is flat, if the ground is horizontal, and you hold the tape along the ground, then you are measuring the horizontal distance. But if the ground is sloping and you are holding the tape along the ground, then the distance you are measuring is the sloping distance. You are not measuring the horizontal distance. And if you want to plot a plan or a map, you need horizontal distance. You don't need sloping distance. So if the ground is sloping, you shouldn't hold the tape or chain along the ground, you have to hold it horizontally. Like in this first method, that is the direct method or the method of stepping. See, if this is point A and this is point B, I have to measure the distance between point A and point B. If I hold the tape along the ground, I will get sloping length. But what I will do is, I'll hold the tape horizontally. I'll hold the tape horizontally, and here I will take a vertical scale. So this point represents L, and this is my horizontal length between point A and point B. So this is how the measurement is done in a sloping ground in direct method or method of stepping. The whole length, like if the total distance is d, it is split into smaller distances L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, so on, and all the small distances are added to get the total distance d. So this method of measuring distance over a sloping ground is called method of stepping. The next methods are indirect methods. The first method, it involves measuring the angle of the slope. If we know what is the angle of the slope, let's say theta 1 is the angle of the slope, and if you measure the sloping distance L1, you can calculate the horizontal distance D1 by trigonometry. So similarly, lengths are calculated over constant slopes, and then total length is found out using all the horizontal lengths. In the second method, the difference between 2 points, the vertical difference between the 2 points, that is point A and point B, is calculated. Let's say it is h, and the sloping length is measured. It is denoted as L, and you can easily calculate the horizontal length D by Pythagoras theorem. The next method is hypotensual allowance. In this method, a correction is applied in the field at every chain length, at every point where the slope changes. Like on the field, if one uh, starting point of the chain is held at B, end point of the chain is held at A dash. So this represents a sloping length of one chain, but the peg is not put at A dash, it is put at A, because the horizontal projection of BA will represent one horizontal chain length. Now this A dash is called as hypotensual allowance, and this distance is calculated prior to the survey conducted. So to calculate the hypotensual allowance, refer this diagram where BA dash is one chain length on sloping ground, and BC is one chain length in horizontal direction. So BA is given by 100 sec of theta. It is one, if you take one chain length as 100 links. So BA dash is also equal to BA dash is 100 links and BC is also 100 links. Now AA dash is given by BA minus BA dash. So 100 sec theta minus 100. So 100 is taken common. So in bracket we have sec theta minus 1. So now sec theta is equal to, if theta is in radians, 1 plus theta square plus 5 theta raised to 4 divided by 24, and so on. So therefore A dash will be equal to 100, and instead of sec theta I'll be substituting 1 plus theta square by 2 minus 1. So A dash will be equal to 50 into theta. 1 and 1 will get cancelled. So theta square by 2 into 100 will be 50 theta square. If this is hypotensal allowance when theta is in radians. When theta is in degrees, sec theta will be equal to 1 plus 1.5 divided by 10,000 into theta square. And if you substitute in that equation, we'll get A dash is equal to 1.5 divided by 100 into theta square. So if you're substituting theta in radians, you have to use this particular equation. If you're substituting theta in degrees, you have to use this equation. So thus, if theta is equal to 10 degrees, if you substitute theta as 10 degrees, you will get hypotensal allowance as 1.5 links. So on a sloping ground, you will put a chain. So at the end of the chain, you will again add 1.5 links and put a arrow there. So this is hypotensal allowance. So in today's class, we learned about different types of instruments used in chaining and taping. That is different types of chains and types and tapes that are used for measurement of length. We also learned how to do measurement on level ground and different methods that can be adopted to measure the distance on sloping ground. So the most important thing to remember is when you are measuring distance on the sloping ground, if you are holding the tape along the ground, you are measuring sloping distance. But if you want to draw a plan or a map, you should measure the horizontal distance. Hence, the tape or the chain must be held horizontally. It shouldn't be held along the sloping ground. It should be held horizontally. So please remember this. Okay, that's it for today's class. Uh, the instruments that are involved in chaining and taping, it will be shown to you in the class. It will be much more clearer to you if it is shown in the class physically. Okay, that's it for today's class.